Hi everyone, this is audap. Let's continue our game of Syberia on Nintendo Switch. Press cuts. Valadilène voice cylinder. Anything else? Let's see. Valadilène Gazette. Mountain fall kills local figure. The Voralberg family was struck by tragedy yesterday. Rudolf Voralberg discovered the lifeless body of his son Hans at the bottom of a precipice. Loose rocks and poor visibility occasioned by the morning mist were probably the cause of the young man's fall. This is the theory put forward by the family, as there were no witnesses. Hans had just turned 18 of age. 8 years ago, he suffered a similar serious accident from which he never fully recovered the full use of his mental faculties. Despite living almost as a recluse, he was still a well-known figure, as the future of the Voralberg manufacturing lay in his hands. We at the Valadilène Gazette wish to extend our deepest sympathy to his family and express our sincerest condolences to Rudolf Voralberg and his daughter Anna, who today become the sole inheritor of the automaton factory. Well, not really. Okay, I think that's all we do here. See, this is where something like tank controls make a lot of sense when you have these switching camera angles. Otherwise, your character ends up going forward, and backward, and reverse, and all sorts of directions you don't want them to go.
Doesn't look like that worked. Doesn't look like that. Doesn't look. Doesn't look. Doesn't look. Doesn't look.
Well, this had to work.
Doesn't look like that.
Actually, that's a funny animation.
got to swear. Okay. I, Anna Voralberg, swear to my brother Hans to never ever mention this to anyone.
It's right there! You see?
But it's dark in there.
Don't worry, I took a lantern. From the factory. Girls, honestly.
You won't look so clever when Father notices you've stolen one of his lanterns. Oh, I'm all covered in mud because of you.
Look, Anna. Look.
I've seen paintings like this in a library book. They're like...
You swore, Anna. It's a secret between you and me. Hey, look. There's something else up there.
Oh, come on.
It's like a toy. I have to have it. Give me some light.
But Hans, it's much too high. Do be careful, Hans. Hans, be careful.
For weeks, my brother lay in a coma, hanging between life and death. And then one morning he opened his eyes, but I knew he would never be the same again. We never did return to the cave, and to this day, I have never ever betrayed our secret.
Hans on a mechanical toy. Valadilène voice actor. Got back. Valadilène. Valadilène, 6 March 2002. Dear Hans, I know how much you dislike the written word, but I do not have the time to forward you a voice cylinder. I imagine that someone in your entourage will be kind enough to read these few lines to you. I received your latest set of plans. Your project is extraordinary. Your all-time masterpiece, perhaps. Time seems to have had no effect on your genius. Quite the contrary. I am proud of you, my dear little brother. Sometimes I find it hard to believe that a century has gone by since the last time I saw you. It only seems like yesterday that you rushed away from Valadilène. We undertook production immediately following your instructions to the letter. The locomotive was ready within a week. If only you could see it, but you will see it that much. But you will see it. That much I have promised you. It is magnificent. It seems impatient to set out on its maiden voyage. There is only Oscar left to build. I hope I finish him soon, but as you can imagine, his mechanism is complex and takes a great deal of time and handiwork. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I understand you wish me to bring you that cursed prehistoric doll, the very thought of which I wonder if it is still in the cave and if it is, what state it is in. But what does 60 years matter, after all, to an object already several thousands of years old? I'm going to find it, Hans, I promise you. I have a bit of a nasty flu at the moment, which is running me down a little. I should be better in a few days, though. The sale of the factory is taking shape. The lawyer from New York should be visiting, and we will be able to sign the contracts. Then I shall never finish this letter.
Oh my gosh. Invoices, more invoices. I never knew the factory was in such a bad way financially. These last 2 years must have been very hard for Anna Voralberg.
Let's see here. Madame, you will have received several warnings from my office concerning penalty charges incurred on unpaid invoices from the company La Colombe. Your total debt for which you are responsible currently stands at 47,782,046 francs. I strongly advise that you acquit yourself. Oh, that's 47,000. I strongly advise that you acquit yourself of this debt by sending the necessary funds to our payment center. In the absence of such a response on your part, I will be obliged to undertake legal proceedings against you to recover the outstanding funds.
that's going to work, it looks like something's missing. If that's going to...
Explore the factory, start the factory, put the cylinders in the train, put the music box in the train.
If that's going to work...
Okay, something needs to go in there. We need to explore the rest of the place. Oh, I wish it was easy to navigate. Seems real clumsy where all the places you can and can't go are defined. Well, that's the nature of an old point-and-click game like this. Had they built these, this whole thing in regular polygons instead of these bitmaps on polygons, polygons on bitmaps would have been better. See, look at that.
No need to go down there. No need to go...
Not a talker, huh? But you are a whistler.
That's going to work. It looks like something's missing. If that's going... These shelves look as if they're made for valuable objects. These shelves look as if they're made for valuable objects. No point weighing myself down.
it's like a certain order, that would suck.
These shelves look as...
Okay, we need more stuff. See, look at that. I should... It's like I should be able to go there.
No need to go down there. The door's locked, but I've still got to get in there. I need a key. That door is locked. I've got to find another way around. Good morning. You've got a magnificent garden here.
Oh, please, don't talk about it. Since my gardener automaton broke down, there are weeds everywhere. You can't imagine how much work it takes me. I don't know whether I'm coming or going. We're not used to doing without our robot help here in Valadilène. But everybody says that we're going to have to get used to it.
How come you pronounce
Good
it different?
morning. You've got
the
a
heck?
magnificent garden here.
Oh,
No point. It's locked.
damn. Let's see, May 14th, 1930. Yesterday, something terrible happened. I do not know who to turn to or who to talk to, so I have decided to write it down. You, dear diary, are now my confidant and sole guardian of my secret thoughts. Hans lies in the next room, teetering between life and death, and I am terrified. Oh, the injustice of life. First Mama, then Hans. Please, dear Lord, don't take my little brother away as well. Hans made me promise to keep this a secret, but its burden is too heavy. I know I can tell you, though, dear diary. We discovered a cave in the mountains, a marvelous cavern with ancient paintings on the walls. Only prehistoric man could have painted them because there were depictions of mammoths, which are prehistoric creatures as well. That much I know. I hate mammoths now. It's all because of them and because of that stupid prehistoric children's toy. Why, Hans? Why did you try and take it? And why did I let you climb up there? It's my fault you are in a coma now. Hans, if you die, I do not know how I could ever forgive myself. May 16th, 1930. Hans has still not regained consciousness. Father cannot sleep, and Gertrude cries all day long. Outside the heat is suffocating, but inside the house is icy cold and dismal. I still have hope, though. I know my brother, and I know his strength. He will pull through. He never gives in. May 17th, 1930. I cannot think of anything else but Hans. In all my waking and sleeping dreams, I see his fall over and over. I see his head hitting the rock and his oh-so-pale face softening. I have taken refuge in the attic. It is my only place where I can find any peace, wrapped up in all my memories. May 18th, 1930. 5 days have passed since the accident, and Hans has still not opened his eyes. To see him like this is unbearable. Please, God, protect him. Take my life, not his. May 19th, 1930. I feel so desperate, so alone. I want to snuggle up in Father's arms, but I dare not. He is just so impassive. Oh, Hans, don't leave me here. May 20th, 1930. It has happened. Hans has come back to life. He opened his eyes and uttered my name. My name. Do you realize? This is the happiest day of my life. I want to take to the streets and sing, to proclaim my joy to the world. Thank you, oh thank you, God. May 22nd, 1930. How wonderful, how beautiful life is. Gertrude and I cannot stop breaking into uncontrollable fits of giggles. Hans even wolfed down his meal today. I know he was tough, my little brother. Even Father smiled at me today when he said good morning. May 25th, 1930. I do not know whether I'm coming or going. I'm totally absorbed in Hans' recovery. I have scarcely 5 minutes to myself to return to my refuge and scribble down these words. May 29th, 1930. It is very curious. Whether Hans is hungry, thirsty, or if he wants something, he cannot stop saying my name. He can't bear it when I leave him, even for an instant. Gertrude thinks that I should move my bed into his room to help him sleep better. I hope that Father will agree. June 2nd, 1930. Today was the first day that Hans was able to leave the house. We went for a short walk in the garden, but Hans is still very weak. The doctor said we should be patient and shouldn't rush him. It is so hard, though. I hope so much that life can return to how it once was. June 20th, 1930. Hans has been out of his coma for a month now. He still doesn't say much and has difficulty moving. He sits motionless for long periods of time, his eyes wide open, as though lost in thought. I have often had to call his name several times before he reacts. Then he will smile, and when he does, the moment is magic for me, and I couldn't possibly be happier. June 22nd, 1930. I had to talk to him. The burden was too great. I asked Hans about the accident in the cave to find out what he could remember. He could utter only one word, mammoth, and his eyes glowed so strangely when he said it frightened me. September 15th, 1930. I go back to school today, and for the first time in my life, I am dreading it. I am afraid of leaving Hans alone. Despite Gertrude's kindness and attention, I have the impression that Hans is much less nervous when I am there. October 20th, 1930. While I was doing my homework yesterday evening, Hans crept up on me so quietly that he made me jump. He took a pencil and a blank sheet of paper and, curiously, he started drawing. It is his first time since his accident he's done anything but daydream. October 28th, 1930. Hans scribbles almost obsessively. It is all he will do, all day long. I feel it annoys Father. Nobody else understands, but I can see that Hans is trying to draw mammoths. On November 16th, 1930. Today is my birthday, and Gertrude has made me an apple pie, my favorite. But Father has not returned home for lunch, and Hans doesn't want to leave his room. The best present I could ever have is to see Hans back on the way to recovery. December 25th, 1930. Snow is falling. It is so beautiful. January 10th, 1931. The doctor visits to examine Hans. He seems happy that my little brother has fully recovered his faculties. It truly is a miracle. I don't understand why he doesn't talk more, though. Why isn't he livelier, like he was before? February 9th, 1931. It is Hans' birthday. Today he is 11 years old. I have the strangest of impressions that actually he has lost 5 years rather than gained 1 more. February 24th, 1931. The doctor has just left. I saw him whispering with Father. Their serious expressions worried me awfully. What could they be hiding from me? I am grown up now. At the age of 15, you can understand everything. I am too scared to ask Father what is happening. March 15th, 1931. I have been thinking, and it seems to me that Hans' attitude isn't normal. The shock of the fall and his coma must have had much more serious effects than we first imagined. Hans, my dear brother, what's happening to you? April 4th, 1931. I have discovered the truth. Hans is stunted physically and mentally. I eavesdropped a conversation between the doctor, Father, and Gertrude. Gertrude buried her tear-filled eyes in her apron, and Father muttered the word retard under his breath. How could he say such a thing? April 13th, 1931. It is Easter, and we're on school holiday. This means I can spend all day with Hans and protect him from Father's permanent dark moods. He cannot accept the fact that Hans, his only son, will stay this state forever. April 14th, 1931. It is truly difficult to accept, but it is not Hans' fault. Mine, maybe, but not Hans. I don't know how to make Father understand. He seems full of hatred for him. It is dreadful. I feel so powerless. May 14th, 1931. 1 year. 1 year has gone by, and it feels like an eternity. The situation shows no signs of improvement, whether in terms of Hans' mental health or Father's attitude towards him. May 30th, 1931. Extraordinary. Father has decided to take Hans to Paris for now, for new tests. He says that only in the French capital will he find truly competent doctors. We must make Hans ready for the great expedition. June 6, 1931. No news from Father and Hans, but I remain hopeful. I am sure they will take good care of my little brother. July 15, 1931. They have returned. Hans rushed into my arms and started crying. It took me a long time to calm him down and to get him to sleep. Father is still as taciturn as he was before he left. The French doctors have confirmed the diagnosis. Hans will remain physically and mentally impaired. I am stunned. August 28, 1931. The summer is coming to a close. It has been less stifling than the last. The sun has put color in Hans' cheeks. When I look at him, I have difficulty imagining that he will not change. November 16th, 1931. Father still says nothing and increasingly shuts himself away in his office at the factory. Christmas. Gertrude tells me that love and faith triumph over any science. I lack neither. God be praised. January 12th, 1932. Father took Hans to the factory this morning. Hans was so afraid that I accompanied them. Fortunately, Father said nothing. I fail to understand why he insists on bringing him there. January 13th, 1932. Father left for the factory with Hans once again this morning. I think he wants to persuade Hans that he could be useful for something. It is his way of resisting fate. February 17th, 1932. For a month now, every morning Hans has gone to work with Father at the factory. I'm not exactly sure what he does there, but he seems to enjoy it. I feel my brother's behavior has changed considerably. He is much less capricious. April 14th, 1932. I could cry. Hans has made a present, a small robot mammoth with a trunk that rises and falls. When Father saw it, he nodded his head in satisfaction. May 20th, 1932. Both Gertrude and Father now have their own robot mammoths. Theirs are even more intricate and finely tuned. Little brother is not such a retard after all. October 15th, 1932. Hans' mammoth now walk, raise their trunks, and wag their tails. It's incredible. December 22nd, 1932. I met the head of the factory workshop, Mr. Grips, this morning. He says that for a young lad of 12, Hans is very gifted. It is a shame he only makes elephants. February 11th, 1933. Father and Hans were locked in a long discussion yesterday, or should I say Hans was locked in one of Father's long monologues. As it is inconceivable that Hans should go to school like other children, Father wants to take him on as a worker at the factory. However, Hans will have stopped making his own little devices. Hans' silence, his half-gaping mouth and staring eyes finally sent Father off in a rage. February 12, 1933. I tried to broach the subject with Hans. I suggested he should obey Father. Learning a craft at the factory is his one chance to do something constructive with his life. He is self-gifted and takes so much pleasure in making automatons. He did look like he wasn't listening to me, but I know he'll think about what I said. February 20th, 1933. It's not that Hans cannot speak, it's rather that he doesn't want to speak. He uses the least possible words for communication, except with me, but he is still very economical with words. May 15th, 1933. Incredible. Hans was not just satisfied with learning how the assembly line works, instead he has completely redesigned it. Father and Monsieur Grips are taking a serious look at his plans. July 10th, 1933. Father has wanted to talk to me about my future since I passed my exams. He wants to send me to university because he says my intelligence is astounding. My heart was beating so loud. It is true I do love studying, but I couldn't bear to be away from Hans. September 2nd, 1933. What a ghastly summer. I have been permanently torn between my desire to go to university and my refusal to leave my brother. I talked about it with Hans, but he said nothing. That same evening, I found my own little mammoth broken. October 9th, 1933. Hans had another fit of hysterics at dinner again. Father announced that Hans' new assembly line would soon be finished. However, they have removed the automaton parrots that shout orders, as they were deemed superfluous. Hans was livid. He hurled his soup dish to the ground and stormed off to his bedroom. What will happen between the both of them when I'm not here? October 17th, 1933. Despite my scruples, I am finally leaving. Hans has not talked to me for a week. Father would not understand if I told him why I wanted to stay. My heart is so heavy. Christmas. It is so strange to be home. I had never left home for such a long time before. Once we were alone, Hans did not stop talking. Words just leapt from his mouth. How we laughed at his excitement. He presented me with a delightful little ballerina to replace the mammoth, he told me. I was so touched that I started crying. Distance has done nothing to harm the strong bond between us. September 10th, 1937. It is strange to pick up this diary once more. At first, my impulse was to tear it up, but I resisted, and instead succumbed to my second desire, which was to write for a while. I am alone in my attic once more. I have been home for 2 months now, and after a summer spent living with the intense joy of being reunited with my brother. Hans has returned to the factory. Father has aged so, and Gertrude's arthritis caused her terrible pain. September 13th, 1937. All in all, these last 4 years have been kind to Father and Hans. Their relationship is less tense. They still do not exchange much conversation, but they now have a thing in common, the factory. I'm even beginning to feel a bit jealous. Silly, really. December 17th, 1937. Hans hasn't changed. To help Gertrude, he has designed a totally automated kitchen, and Gertrude can't stop moaning at the wooden puppets. Oh, how I adore them. October 9th, 1937. I want to go and see Father and Hans at work. I hadn't been to the factory for ages. It is strange how much it has changed. I was very curious to see them set about their tasks. I like Father's new office very much. Hans has a small workshop on the first floor, crammed with odds and ends, unfinished robots, and designs exactly as I imagined it, in fact. October 15th, 1937. The factory is working very well. Orders for toys keep coming in, spurred on by the run-up to Christmas. When I was at university and I said my name was Voralberg, people would ask me if I had any relation to the Valadilène factory. Now I know the effect that Hans' genius has had over the factory's renown. November 2nd, 1937. To make myself useful, I started helping Father set his papers in order. The most extraordinary thing of all is that for the first time ever, I have the impression that the three of us form a real family. December 8th, 1937. Hans never ceases to surprise me. Between home and the factory, his behavior is so very different. In his workshop, he is serious, concentrated, a proper young man who helps keep his eye on everything going on. constantly on the move and in control. One has the impression that each single toy is his very own infant. At home, he turns back into a child once more and is either moody or a happy-go-lucky buffoon. Christmas, the most wonderful Christmas of my whole life. Hans and I could not stop giggling like children beneath Father's disapproving glare. I know that he was only pretending, really. Our hearts are so full of hope. January 5th, 1938. Hans came to see me in my bedroom yesterday evening. I felt terribly ill at ease. I might have guessed. Hans wants to leave. Leave Valadilène. The house and the factory. He wants to go traveling. He doesn't know where to or for how long. That's just like him. I was so shocked that I told him his plans were foolish. He left my room without a word, his head bowed. January 7th, 1938. I thought that he wanted to leave because of Father. Not at all. It's because of the mammoths. He wants to go tracking mammoths. I thought he had gotten over his obsession. I know my brother only too well. I wouldn't dream of telling him his quest is useless. It isn't worth it. He will not listen to reason. January 10th, 1938. I was so selfish the other evening. I returned to talk to Hans and asked him gently if he was sure of his decision. I already know what the reply is going to be. Nothing will make him change his mind. January 19th, 1938. Despite my profound sadness and disdain, I must help Hans fulfill the destiny he has chosen and announce the news to Father. I fear the worst. January 24th, 1938. The worst was worse than my fears. Father's anger was terrifying. He shut Hans away in his workshop at the factory and has forbidden all visits except for Gertrude, who feeds him. February 1st, 1938. Father has decided that Hans should remain locked up for as long as it takes him to abandon his infantile decision. Gertrude tells me that Hans is very despondent, yet highly resolute. The worrying is driving me mad. February 6th, 1938. As soon as Gertrude returns from the factory, I hasten to get news of my little brother. He doesn't say anything. He just fiddles with bits and pieces, she replies every day with a sigh. I have tried desperately to reason with Father, but I know I am just wasting my breath. Let's see, February 9th, 1938. Hans is 18 years old today, and he is all on his own for his birthday. February 20th, 1938. In secret, Gertrude delivered to me a small robot from Hans. It is a robot of us as children. It works with a small cylinder punched in with many tiny holes. I quivered with emotion as I turned the key. The message it gave was simple. He was telling me he loved me very, very much. February 21st, 1938. Gertrude gave me a different tiny cylinder for today's toy. Hans is truly incredible. He has found a means of communicating between us and us alone in total secret. February 27th, 1938. My days are spent eagerly awaiting Hans' message. He has now resolved to run away. He is preparing his escape, like if it was a game. March 6th, 1938. Gertrude has returned and she is beside herself. Hans has disappeared. Father has not even deigned to return to the workshop where he locked up his son, nor find out how he managed to escape. He just gave me a black look as if he knew we were up to something behind his back. March 7th, 1938. It is beginning to dawn on me that Hans has gone. I miss him so much. Lord, please protect my little brother and watch over him for me. March 11th, 1938. With Hans gone, Father now locks himself away, night and day, at the factory. The house is so gloomy now. March 12th, 1938. This morning, I caught Father in the drawing room installing a coffin on a trestle. The sight of it made my blood freeze. What on earth is he up to? My questions met only with strong silence and impermanent black countenance. March 13th, 1938. Behind closed curtains, the drawing room with a coffin surrounded by huge candles has become a veritable funeral chamber. March 14th, 1938. This is ghastly. I have just understood what Father is up to. This morning, the priest came to pray before the coffin, and I finally caught on. Father is in mourning for the death of Hans. Father made the priest believe that his son was dead. How could he do such a thing? March 16th, 1938. In the madness occasioned by his grief, my father grows ever more cold and calculating. He contacted his old friend, Dr. Schmall, who duly drew up a bona fide death certificate without even seeing the body. I dare not imagine what yarn he spun. March 17th, 1938. Hans' funeral will be officially held next Sunday. Father strictly forbade me to attend. The sordid masquerade makes me feel ill, but I cannot denounce the subterfuge, or else I will display my father's mental instability to the world. The shame would kill him, that much is certain. March 23rd, 1938. I have to get away, far, far away. March 23rd, 1938. No, I will not leave. I have thought long and hard. My life is here, next to my father. He needs me too much now. The factory needs me, because father isn't capable of running it now. Besides, I can only find peace of mind among Hans' robots. And how shall I know when he has sent me new ones if I am not at home to receive them? No, I shall not leave. My destiny is to remain here and keep watch. Oh god, that was a lot to read. A lot of information. I might feel like Johnny Explain-a-thon. It's just another camera angle with nothing to do. Go into the screen. Man, what? Confusing ass game. Hans, 1932.
What on earth is that?
Seriously, I don't know what that is.
Mammoths. You draw mammoths for Momo?
Ah, Momo, it's you. You scared me. What are you doing in here?
Momo want mammoth picture. Like Hans' picture.
Sorry, I haven't got a picture of a mammoth with me.
Take paper and pencil and draw mammoth for Momo.
You don't give up easily, do you? Momo, I've got something else I want to ask you.
Momo listening.
You're a sweet kid, Momo, but I can't draw, least of all, mammoths.
Draw mammoth easy. Hans draw mammoth. Anna draw mammoth. Kate too.
I mean, maybe I could do a quick squiggle of a box, say, that has a mammoth inside.
No. Momo want a real mammoth.
My goodness, you are one stubborn boy. There's something I'm looking for, but I don't quite know what. I need a clue, anything that might tell me where Hans is. You want to help me, don't you?
First, you draw mammoth for Momo.
And if I help you, you help me, right?
Momo know Kate is kind. Kate draw mammoth for Momo. Then Momo tell Kate secret.
You've got a secret?
First draw mammoth for Momo.
Do you know if Anna came here often with Hans?
First draw mammoth for Momo.
It must be fascinating to live in a village full of automatons.
Automatons made by hands. Difficult work. When Momo big, he do like Hans. Momo friend of automatons.
Tell me, Momo, did you come here a lot with Anna?
Anna like Momo. Anna like Hans. Anna on journey.
Tell me, Momo. I heard about a cave. You look like a smart little fellow. You wouldn't know where it is, would you?
Draw mammoth for Momo.
Okay, here's the deal. I draw you a mammoth, and you tell me about the cave, okay?
But first, draw mammoth for Momo.
Momo, I've got to go now. But see you later, maybe.
Thank you. Momo happy. Now follow Momo. Momo show his secret to Kate.
Isn't your penis, is it? Yeah, I'm looking like a dick pic. God, even 1938 or whatever this takes place. Can't get away from dick pics. Or at least pictures of a trunk. You walk all the way out there, really? Wow.
I could use one of the oars from this boat as a lever. But how am I ever going to get a hold of it? It's a shame this boat's been left to rot. Now it's full of holes. There you are, Momo. This is some walk you've taken me on. I've got to say, though, it sure is mighty pretty.
Momo come here often. Momo like make splash in water.
Did you poop in the water? Sick little crib.
Momo, I've got something else I want to ask you.
Momo listening.
Why have you brought me here?
Mammoth doll in cave. Very important for Hans, honestly.
Cave? What cave? Where?
Momo not liar.
We need one of the oars from the old rowing boat. Could you get it, please?
Momo say yes. Momo strong and kind. Or too far away. Momo not like water.
No, they're useless.
Momo, I've got...
Momo this.
Tell me, Momo, do you really think that after all these years, Anna's brother is still alive?
Anna always say Hans go away, but Hans come back maybe.
It must be fascinating to...
Automatons made by Hans.
Tell me, Momo, did you come here a lot with Anna?
Mm-hmm.
So you reckon the cave that Hans and Anna found is round here? You wouldn't know where it is exactly, would you?
Cave disappear. Anna say nobody find it. Disappear. Psst. Like magic.
Caves don't go disappearing like that. It must be hidden by something. That's all.
Momo like playing hide and seek.
Why have you brought me here?
Mammoth doll in
Cave?
Momo.
Momo, I've got to go now. But see you later, maybe. I can't go that way.
Oh yes, there's ankle deep water there. I'm afraid of. And maybe she's only got one pair of shoes.
It must be broken. I've got to get a helping hand here.
Oh, save game. Saving on the screen just a minute ago. There we go. Okay, why don't we stop it there? This is audap. You've been watching Syberia on Nintendo Switch. It's got obtuse puzzles, but an interesting story. So it's very much a classic game. It's the kind of game I used to grow up with. Although I do wish that the technology was just a little bit better in this game. Oh well. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching. I will see you at the next stream.